Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're unpacking one of the great economic and cultural paradoxes of modern Japan, Pachinko.
hmm
This is an entertainment sector that year after year generates sales figures in the tens of trillions of yen. I mean, a truly massive financial engine.
It really is.
And yet it remains almost completely unknown and in most places explicitly banned outside of its home country.
It's a truly unique phenomenon, and our sources today dive into the mechanics, the money, and I think most importantly, the extreme controversies around it.
Right.
The core mission for you, the listener, is really understanding this paradox. How does an industry that is, I mean, let's be honest, universally seen as high-stakes gambling legally operate in a country where gambling is illegal?
Exactly.
We need to understand the mechanism that makes this massive market possible and, why the rest of the world has just uniformly said, no, thank you.
Okay, let's start with the basics then, because for many people listening, pachinko is just this noisy, flashing thing they see in movies. What is it physically?
At its heart, pachinko is, well, you can think of it as a vertical mechanical pinball machine. That's the easiest way.
Okay.
So players launch these small steel balls onto a board, and it's covered with a maze of nails. The goal is simple. Get the balls into specific pockets to win more balls.
And it's been around for a while.
Oh, yeah. It evolved from these old European wall machines that were imported back in the 1920s, but it's become this distinctly Japanese cultural fixture.
But the crucial part isn't really the mechanics, is it? It's the money.
It's always the money.
We said Japan forbids direct cash gambling, or tabaku, under its penal code. So how does an operation where you risk money for the chance to win more money get around that?
This is where the brilliant and, you could say, frankly absurd legal fiction comes in.
Okay.
It's all thanks to the three-shop system.
The three-shop system.
That's the legal maneuver that allows pachinko to be classified not as gambling, but as an fuzoku aijush. So an adult entertainment business.
An entertainment business, not gambling.
Right. It makes sure the pachinko hall itself never, ever pays out cash.
Yeah.
And so, formally, it complies with the law.
Okay, let's unpack this legal tightrope. It sounds like a complex shell game. What are the 3 steps?
Think of it like a chain of custody for the prize. So step 1, you're in the hall, you put your money in, and you win a massive quantity of steel balls.
Right.
Step 2, you exchange those winning balls, but not for currency. You get a special prize, a tokushikin.
A special prize? Like what? A teddy bear?
No, it's usually some small, nondescript item of nominal value, maybe a little gold token, a plastic card, something small. The key is the hall never buys this back from you.
And step 3 is the truly fascinating part, the part that makes the whole thing work.
Exactly. Step 3 requires you, the player, to take that special prize outside the hall and walk, a few feet away.
To another shop.
To a completely separate, independent establishment. There's a second-hand dealer, basically. A prize-buying agency. And that agency buys the prize from you for cash.
So if everyone knows the prize is just instantly converted to money right next door, how can any court legally defend that as not gambling? That gray area is massive.
It is a massive gray area. And critics, they widely condemn it as de facto gambling.
Of course.
But this system has legal backing. Our sources point to rulings, like one from the 1968 Fukuoka High Court, that basically upheld the system.
On what grounds?
Because the prizes are physically exchanged, they're shuffled, and they're never guaranteed to return to the specific hall they came from. It maintains just enough legal distance.
Wow.
And that accepted fiction is the bedrock upon which a multi-trillion yen industry was built.
So the legal loophole is robust. But just how massive is the financial engine that this loophole enables? The sales figures are just astronomical.
Yeah, when you first look at the raw figures, they are truly staggering. We see talk of sales figures, or kashidamaru, which is the total money players put in to rent the balls.
And at the peak.
At the peak, around 2005, that figure hit nearly 35 trillion yen.
35 trillion. That's more than the GDP of many small nations.
It is, but we have to clarify what that number means, because pachinko machines have a really high payback rate, about 85%.
Oh, okay.
So most of that 35 trillion just went straight back to the players as more balls. The real measure is the gross gaming revenue, or GGR. That's what the halls actually keep.
So about 15% of the total money played. What does that look like today?
Well, even though the industry is declining, the GDR is still colossal. In 2023, the total sales figure was 15.7 trillion yen.
Okay.
Which translates to an actual retained GGR of about 2.54 trillion yen.
And that GGR number, that's what you can compare directly to, say, Las Vegas or Macau.
Exactly. And when you zoom out to put Japan's total gambling market, so
Yeah.
Pachinko plus things like horse racing, into a global context, the picture gets really interesting.
How so?
Japan's total GGR was estimated at 4.59 trillion yen in 2022. That gambling revenue accounted for 0.82% of its GDP.
0.82%. How does that compare?
Well, you compare that to the U.S., where the entire gambling industry was just 0.36% of GDP. Japan's ratio is more than twice as high.
So it completely challenges this idea that Japan is a non-gambling society.
It really does. The activity is just, it's funneled into this single, legally unique mechanism.
But even with that huge scale, the industry is struggling long-term. It's a story of decline, isn't it?
A very steep decline, yeah. Since the peak in the mid-90s, the number of players has just plummeted, from 29 million down to just 6.6 million in 2023.
Wow.
And the stores are closing too, dropping from over 17,000 to just over 6,000. It's definitely shrinking.
What's driving that?
It's a mix of things: tighter regulations, competition from, online entertainment, and just an increasingly negative public image.
But still, even in decline, 6.6 million players and a 2.5 trillion yen revenue stream. I mean, this is not a niche activity.
Not at all. It's still deeply entrenched. It employs hundreds of thousands of people.
Right, the whole infrastructure is massive. So that brings us to the global anomaly. If Pachinko is this immense financial engine in Japan, why has the rest of the world looked at this multi-trillion yen game and just said, no, we want no part of it?
The global rejection really comes down to two big factors.
Yeah.
One, they reject the legal fiction. And two, there's a lack of cultural fit.
Okay.
And the dramatic case study is just across the water in South Korea.
Right. Tell us about the South Korean experience with, what was it called? Metal Chigi?
Metal Chigi.
Yeah.
Yeah, they adopted a similar concept using modified Japanese machines, but they dispensed metal tokens, not balls. For a few years in the early 2000s, it just exploded.
How big did it get?
About 15,000 stores, generating nearly 3 trillion yen in sales. It really looked like Pachinko was finally going global.
But the boom ended in a spectacular and, frankly, terrifying collapse.
It was a social catastrophe. The sources are very clear on this. The rapid expansion led to extreme societal damage, widespread addiction, bankruptcies, family breakdown.
And there was a political scandal mixed in too, right?
A massive one. A political bribery scandal involving machine licensing. The response was immediate and total. The government completely banned the entire activity in 2006.
And the sources detail just how seriously the political leadership took this crisis.
They did. The Korean prime minister at the time actually issued a public apology to the entire nation.
An apology.
Yes, emphasizing the severe damage the industry had caused to daily life. Korea made a very deliberate choice that the economic activity wasn't worth the human cost.
That is a powerful cautionary tale, and it sets the stage for why the West resists it. The moment you try to export that three-shop system, it just breaks down.
It does, because Western regulators demand transparency. They want a clear classification. Is it a game of skill or is it pure chance?
And the ambiguity of the three-shop system is just...
It's unacceptable. They see it as illegal skirting of law. And beyond that, Pachinko is just culturally alien to many markets.
How so?
Well, Western gambling tends to favor fast, social interaction like poker or really quick returns like slot machines. Pachinko is a solitary pursuit. It requires hours of repetitive play in this incredibly loud, stimulating environment. And the machines themselves are so deeply tied into Japanese pop culture.
Ah, like anime and manga themes.
Exactly. Anime, celebrities, manga. If you don't know the character, the whole digital display is just confusing and honestly kind of tedious.
And yet we do see some curiosity. I think our sources mentioned a 2017 survey at the Anime Expo.
They did. It showed 91% of attendees were interested in trying Pachinko when they visited Japan.
So maybe the cultural barrier is softening a little, but that legal barrier.
Legal barrier remains absolute.
Yeah.
Which brings us back home to Japan. Because despite the economic scale and its formal legal compliance, the industry faces these severe, persistent social and political controversies.
Controversies that reflect its true nature as a pretty dangerous high-stakes activity.
Right.
And we have to start with the human cost. Addiction. Medically, it's categorized as pathological gambling.
It is absolutely a disease, and it's facilitated by the design of the machines. Pachinko is a masterclass in behavioral engineering.
How does that work?
It uses a mechanism called intermittent reinforcement. The payouts are totally random and unpredictable that drives these intense dopamine spikes in the player's brain.
And that's what gets you hooked.
That's the psychological dependence. It makes it incredibly difficult to just walk away, even when you're on a massive, financially ruinous losing streak.
And that desperation, sadly, leads to truly horrific consequences that go beyond just money. I mean, we're talking about child safety.
This is one of the most serious recurring issues. The sources reveal these tragedies. Documented incidents of neglect and even deaths, often from heat stroke.
Because parents are leaving their kids in the car.
Exactly. They leave young children in cars while they're inside playing. It just shows you how absolute the grip of this game can be.
Yeah.
The industry itself has to run campaigns just reminding parents not to forget their children.
That's alarming. And it raises immediate questions about regulation. And that's where the political entanglement, this deep-seated collusion or yuchaku, comes into the picture.
The regulatory situation is highly problematic. The industry is regulated by the National Police Agency, the NPA.
Right.
But the private bodies that are responsible for certifying the machines, the ones that decide if a machine is fair and legal, have a revolving door problem.
Wait, tell me more about that. Who is staffing these certification bodies?
Former NPA chiefs, former high-level police officials. They have historically taken up top positions in these organizations after they retire.
So the very people who used to enforce the laws against the industry then go and take high-paying jobs certifying its machines.
Precisely. It severely compromises the appearance, and you have to assume the reality of impartial regulation.
And the political connections don't stop there. The pachinko industry is exceptionally well connected in the Diet, in the government.
They are. Organizations representing the industry, like the Pachinko Chain Store Association, have been known to list numerous Diet members, including former prime ministers, as political advisors.
So they're lending their name and their influence?
They're lending crucial political cover to the industry, often without having any real expertise in gaming itself. It just shows how deeply entrenched the financial power of pachinko is.
And on top of all that, you have historical issues of, well, financial noncompliance.
Absolutely. Historically, high rates of corporate tax evasion have plagued the industry. A 2004 investigation found that the non-compliance rate for halls was a shocking 50.3%.
50%.
Wow. And on the individual level, you had this huge controversy over installing ATMs inside the halls.
Which just makes it easier for people who are addicted.
It facilitates dependency. If you run out of cash, you can easily withdraw more, maybe even take out a loan, and just perpetuate the cycle of loss. It's a sad reality that reports often show welfare recipients lining up at halls right after their benefits are paid out.
The ability of this industry to maintain its legal status, its massive financial clout, and its deep political ties, even facing all these intense social and ethical challenges. It says a lot about the unique dynamics of power and regulation in Japan.
It really does.
So what does this all mean for you? Well, pachinko is far more than just a noisy game. It's a reflection of unique Japanese priorities, a complex balancing act between economic necessity, a very clever legal fiction, and persistent, often politically tolerated, social challenges.
And as a final thought for you to consider, let's go back to that economic choice South Korea made.
Right.
Korea chose to ban an industry that represented 3 trillion yen in GGR revenue. And research suggests that money didn't just vanish, it was absorbed. It was redirected into other, potentially more productive sectors of the Korean economy.
And Japan maintains a pachinko and public gambling sector that represents, what was it, a 4.59 trillion yen GGR?
Right. So if that sector were drastically curtailed or abolished, those funds would similarly flow elsewhere.
Into general consumption, savings, other industries.
Which raises the essential question. Is the immense societal cost of maintaining this unique quasi-gambling enterprise, with the addiction, the political collusion, the tragic child safety issues, is it worth the specific economic activity it generates? Or would the redirection of those massive funds lead to greater overall economic health and social stability for the country? It's the ultimate cost-benefit analysis, all built on a legal fiction.